Games here, and welcome back to another Minecraft modding video. This is the first episode of a tiny little series where we will be creating a mob. Now, basically what goes into a mob is a model for the mob, some code to get along with the mob, and depending on your mob, maybe even some complicated animations to let the model move in the world. Now, in this video, we'll only create the model for the mob, basically how it looks in the world, and we'll create the textures for the model so the model doesn't look white or textureless. So, we'll jump right into it. So, first, this program is called Technique. Download link will be in the description. You could go Google it as well if you would want to. Now, creating a new texture goes like this, and you'll have your workspace here. Basically this is where the model is, and as you can see you have a wood block, or actually I should say a planks block here. This is kind of to keep skill for you, so if your mob is exactly one block big, it will be one block big in the real world. Now, how to create new blocks: you click here on the cube and it will create a new cube, as you can see. Now, there are a few things about this cube that are set. So the dimensions, the position, the offset, you shouldn't worry about that right now, and the texture offset, that's an important one though. So dimensions is basically, if I add up to the dimension here, it will get longer downwards. Now if I do that until it goes into negative numbers, I can't, but it will be totally flat, as you can see, and I can give it up, so it's once again 1 by 1. And basically 1 by 1 means it's 1 pixel of this. So a normal block is 16 by 16 by 16, and this is basically 1 by 1 by 1. Now you could larger that up to 2 by 2 by 2, and then you get a little bit bigger cube, until you get something you're satisfied with. So for instance, we're going to create a head of 3 by 3 by 3 for this mob, for instance. It's going to be a bunny, by the way. Then the position is really important as well, because now it's just floating in midair. Now we want it to be on the ground, and yes, where this plank is the ground. Now if you do higher up this number, it'll actually go down until we're on the wood block, and otherwise it will go into the wood block, which we do not want. Now this would be the head, so that means a bit higher. But what I'm trying to get over here is, with these parameters you can move it around. So that's position basically, and the dimensions is how big the cube is. The blue thing is where the rotation point is, and until you're really going to be more advanced in animations, you're not going to really want too advanced animations, but if you do want it, you could set the offset. So this is basically where the cube is compared to the blue thing. Now this would be there, but we're not going to do that right now. It's a little bit more complicated than just normal, so I'm not going to do it. But if you think you're good enough to understand what the offset will do to rotations, animations and stuff, you can go ahead. Now another important thing is the selected cube name. Now if you duplicate things, it will actually have exactly the same name. Now this would be the head, and it's in the code it's the best to call it actually head. So later on in the coding process you will know that this is the head and not something else. Now the texture offset is really important, and because I'm not going to make multiple blocks right now, basically what it means, it's basically where in the texture map, which you can see here, the texture is. So if I move this to the right, you can see if I up this number, it will go to the right, and if I up this number, it will go down. Now you need to change this, otherwise it will all be in the upper left corner, which will result into all textures mixing together. Now for the first one, it doesn't matter if it's 0, 0, and for that reason in the middle, and the gray areas are areas that are officially taken but do not need to be textured because they're not part of the cube, which means gray areas can overlap with other existing areas. Now I will go ahead and record myself making the bunny. Okay, so this is the end result. As you can see, it's textureless, not really a bunny-like creature. Now, it does have these flat ears here, which should in the end look good. But one of the problems is, because it's only 1 pixel wide, the texture can only be 1 pixel wide. The model is upside down now. Well, what that means, it can only be one kind, couldn't be textured more in detail. Now, to do more detail, which is possible, you basically need to you need to double the width and height of your texture from the original that code thinks it is, and then you can do it. This 1 by 1 is 2 by 2 in the texture then, which leaves you to more detail. But because we're not going to go that complicated in this video, it will basically be not so good because it's only 1 pixel wide. Now let's stop the showcase and have a look. As you can see, it's really quite small compared to the block. Now, one thing we do want to do, I want to tell you at least, is this textures here, which we're going to do as well in this tutorial. So we're going to do File, Export as Texture Map. But before that, we're going to save this file. That's another model I made sometime. To, for instance, bunny.tcn, which is basically the file that this program can read for your models. It's not really interesting, but in case you want to model something out of it differently or change something, it's good to have the original model. And if the program crashes, it's as well good. So we'll do texture map, and we'll do that as well on the desktop, and we'll call that bunny as well. So yeah, we can go to the desktop, open up bunny, and edit that with Notepad++. And basically the texture file is this thing right here. We just did open. Not sure if pt.1 opens. Where's bunny? Okay, it did open. Never mind. Now we can zoom in on this. For this part, like with blocks and items, well, with items as well, but with blocks it doesn't really matter if you use paint as well. You could do that because it doesn't need to be transparent, but this needs to be transparent. Well, it doesn't really need to be transparent. It's a good idea to use pt.net. Just Google it and you'll probably find it. Now, this is the lag, and how I know that. These are all 4 lags. They're overlaying. Now, what I said about overlaying is not totally true. You do want to overlay some things. Like the ears, I have 2 ears, but I want them to look identical. So what I did is I overlaid the textures of the ears, and now both ears use this space as texture, which leaves them both as an ear, as well do all 4 legs use the same lag texture. Unless you want different ones, you could change it if you want different ones, but this is the best way. This, I think, is the head, and this is the body. So let's get right into it and texture this. Now, what you want to keep in mind, and the best thing you can do, is actually load the texture that you made, called bunny in this case, onto your model, and you can see where things are. So basically the blue one, the blue eyes, ears, you can see, but as well the red one is the front of everything in this case, and as well the back. So the head, the front, is the red one, and it's the less, well, it's really kind of invisible, but I know it's the more bright red one in this case. But let's first do the head really quickly. So we have a few pixels to do that, which is kind of a shame. Oops, I didn't meant to do that. But yeah, we are going to do that anyway. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little furry, grayish bunny with black eyes. This looks really bad, I know. But we'll go into a little bit more detail. As you can see, that's the front of the face. Now, it's always updating the texture from you, so you can, as soon as you save the texture in pt.net, it will automatically update here, and that's really good because you can just look at how it would look in Minecraft, and it updates quite fast. But keep in mind, the thing I said before of making the texture twice as big and then having more detail. So this would be 6x6 then, which gives me way more capabilities of making this that would not show properly in Technique, by which I recommend first doing it in the proper thing like I'm doing right now, and then twicing it, so you know everything is on the right on the correct space, but as well in high definition kind of thing. Well, for Minecraft high definition, because it's twice as much pixels per block. So now I'm gonna do speed art of me making the bunny, which is probably not gonna look very well, but okay, so I got the texturing done, and as you can see, it looks quite well, in my opinion at least. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video, we'll go over how to export your model to make it able to be read by Minecraft. And in that video, we're also starting to slowly but surely getting it to real Minecraft, registering the entity that it is, and maybe we'll succeed in getting the next video even so far that we can actually see the mob. And in the video after that, we'll go over the simple, well, it's not simple, but we'll go over the basics of animating this, because one of the things I got by looking to bunny pictures for inspirations for the textures is that they sit a lot. Their legs aren't always visible, so what I want them to do is kind of like cats can sit as well. I want them to go sit down with their legs that way, and the body downwards, with the head and ears obviously going with the head. And I want them to eat like sheep, so the head goes down a bit and eats from the grass. That is quite simple to do, I guess, because we can steal the animation from the sheep for the head, but the other one may be more difficult. But I don't know, we'll see in the future. But I hope you like this first pod, and hope you're able to model. If you have any questions how to model, please leave them in the not in the description, but in the comments section down below. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up or subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.